evening and thank you for tuning in to India Today. I'm Suesha Samant, and yes, Trump's latest decision to slap $100,000 fee on H1B applications that has turned out to be a nightmare for foreign workers in the United States. This decision is burning a hole in Indian techies' pockets. Their visa fee has been increased by over 80 lakh rupees. The second challenge for Indian tech professionals is to reach US by the 21st of September, adhering to the diktat issued by tech giants. In this bulletin, we'll decode what is in store for Indian techies with the great American dream and what the impact of this move could be. Watch this report.
US President Donald Trump has dropped a $100,000 bombshell on companies hiring foreign talent. In a sweeping move set to jolt global tech hiring, a new executive order now imposes a $100,000, that is nearly 90 lakh rupees annual fee per H1B visa applicant to be paid by the employer, 100 times increase from the earlier cost of just $1,000, nearly 90,000 rupees. Until now, US companies paid just $215 for the H1B lottery and $780 for petition paperwork. But now, with Trump's crackdown, employers must cough up over nearly 90 lakh rupees per worker every year.
What this proclamation will do is raise the fee that companies pay to sponsor H1B applicants to $100,000. This will ensure that the people they're bringing in are actually very highly skilled and that they're not replaceable by American workers.
Trump has claimed that the move would ensure only the greatest foreign workers make it to America and insisted that tech companies would be very happy.
Everyone's going to be happy, and we're going to be able to keep people in our country that are going to be very productive people. And in many cases, these companies are going to pay a lot of money for that, and they're very happy about it.
The move is part of what the US Labor Department called Project Firewall to safeguard job opportunities for US residents, aligning with Trump's America First agenda.
The country would rather not have to pay $100,000, but they'd rather, how do you do that? You hire Americans. So there's an incentive to hire American. But there may be instances where it's better off doing it through expertise or whatever it may be. But they're both unbelievable, whether it's a gold card or anything else that we talked about today.
The whole idea is no more will these big tech companies or other big companies train foreign workers. They have to pay the government $100,000, then they have to pay the employee. So it's just not economic. If you're going to train somebody, you're going to train one of the recent graduates from one of the great universities across our land. Train Americans, stop bringing in people to take our jobs.
Tech giants like Amazon, Microsoft and Meta have already raised red flags. Internal advisories are warning Indian H1B workers currently in India to fly back before September 21st or risk being locked out of the US indefinitely. Because starting September 21st, no H1B worker can re-enter the United States unless that $100,000 fee is paid upfront by their employer. Even H4 dependents, the spouses and kids have been told to avoid travel altogether. For many, it's a cruel countdown. Families could be split apart for years. Careers, carefully built over a decade, now hang in the balance. With Indians forming over 70% of all H1B holders as of 2024, this isn't just a policy change. It's a direct hit on India's tech backbone. As the US raises barriers, global tech may realign. The world is watching and India is calculating its next move. Bureau Report, India Today.
Needless to say, this move that has thrown careers, companies and even Indo-US ties into uncertainty. Now, whether this is a temporary shock or a long-term setback, I have with me panelists joining us this evening to understand the consequences of this move. I'd like to first introduce Neeti Sharma, CEO of Team Lease Digital. Mr. Prabhu Dayal, who's a former diplomat and shortly from now will also be joined by Dr. Tejinder Pal Singh Nalwa. He's an immigration law expert and he will explain to us what this move means in its entirety. But before that, Neeti Sharma, I'd like to come to you. to understand what is possibly on the mind of a US employer at the moment. Client concerns, project delays, a heavy fee that they may have to pay, or possibly how it's going to impact future hirings and talent pipeline.
Yeah, thanks, Suesa, for having me here. I think this is very disruptive for now, at least, the way we're looking at it, right? Because, but let's say Amazon has 10,000 H1B visa workers on the payroll in America. How would they operate without talent, without that level of talent and volume of talent in the US is a big question. So obviously the ones who are there already don't get impacted, at least in the near future. They'll probably get impacted when renewals kick in, but they will not be able to hire newer people, especially from other countries at junior levels. They will then be very selective and bring in people which have super specialist skills, who can only probably pay for the 100,000 additional fee every month, which means that ROI has to be calculated for every H1B visa that is going to get bought in from here on. It's going to be disruptive also because America by itself currently does not have the volume of tech talent that US needs as we speak. Yes, there are talks about bringing freshers, train them, but its productivity gets impacted. So the global companies have two ways to look at it. One, I either absorb the cost, or second is I probably bring in freshers, train them, and then make them productive. Either ways, their cost structures are going to go all over the place, which would also mean that their goods, the cost of their goods are going to be increased, which would mean consumers will have to end up paying the additional price. So net, it doesn't make sense for the global companies to, at least for America, to even look at creating an embargo sort of a situation, at least immediately. The Indian IT industries, who's also have many H1B visa employees based out of the US, and that the reasons clearly are so that they stay on site, close to the customer, understand the requirements, are flexible to make changes that the customers need. Now, if we have to look at bringing all of them back home, two things: would customers be comfortable working with offshore employees all the time? It may not be the case. Secondly, how soon can we deploy, have enough resources in India to give them workplaces, residentials, schools, so it's a whole lot of disruption that's happening in the near future. I think in the long run, things may work out very differently for India. But right now, I think it's a very scary situation for people who are either studying in the US, looking for jobs, or waiting for H1B. And I know a lot of people have come on vacations right now because this is the school holiday time.
Yeah.
If they're not able to go back by Sunday, US time, it's going to be disaster for them.
Exactly, and we'll talk about that more. But before that, I'd like to bring in Mr. Dayal. Given the fact that Indians are the largest holders of the H1B visa, do you see further straining of Indo-US ties in this regard?
Well, first of all, let me say that I agree entirely with what Neeti Sharma has said regarding the consequences in the near term and in the longer term.
Okay.
Of course, this will impact Indo-US ties because Indian workers are going to be very adversely affected, particularly in the near term. Let me say that with Indian nationals making up the largest percentage of H1B visa recipients, the new fees will significantly limit opportunities for Indian professionals seeking to work in the US. And naturally, this will have an impact on how the Indian government looks at these matters. Indian and US companies that rely on H1B visa workers will face an enormous increase in costs, which will likely affect their hiring strategies. And by restricting access to global talent, as Neeti Sharma pointed out, the US will stifle its own innovation and competitive edge, particularly in fields like technology and AI. Now, India will have to take into account the fact that Indian IT firms had already begun to reduce their reliance on H1B visas over the last several years by hiring more locally. Now, the new fees are expected to accelerate this trend, and Indian companies may intensify efforts to diversify their markets beyond the US and focus on regions with less restrictive immigration policies, such as Europe and other parts of Asia. Now, the Indian government will have to assist such companies in their endeavors in this regard, because the prohibitive cost may cause companies to move more higher value work and jobs to India, in fact, and the government will have to make this possible. So, in this sense, let me say that the restrictive US policy could turn India's brain drain into a brain gain. And this is what the government must try and ensure. Now, the fee creates a barrier for global talent, which will severely impact innovation and growth in the US. And the highly skilled Indian workers who are unable to go to the US now or forced to return should be helped to build innovative startups and advance India's domestic tech sector instead. So by slamming the door on skilled talent, the US could inadvertently push the next wave of labs, patents, innovation, and startups to Indian cities like Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune, and Gurgaon. So the government must try and make sure that it creates the right opportunities for all such people. And, for instance, the finest doctors, engineers, scientists, innovators who go from India to the United States should be given now the opportunity to contribute to their own country's growth and progress towards the Viksit Bharat vision. So the H1B visa change should now be looked at very seriously by government, and in such a way that it benefits the Indian economy instead of impacting adversely on all these workers and skilled people.
Absolutely. And while you've given me an overview, we'll break down these points and discuss them bit by bit. But before that, I want to go back to Niti Sharma to understand the 21st September deadline, way too close, because the companies are saying that, please come back in time, whether you're on a business trip or you're holidaying, or those of you who are here, please stay put. But it may not be feasible for everyone.
Definitely no. And in case people are not able to go back by 21st September, people who are working on H1B visa will have a challenge, because companies will not be able to fund the 100,000 annual fee immediately. That's one. Secondly, I think if there are kids studying in schools and if they're here in India and they're not able to go back, there's another impact. The other piece that I think we are all talking about is about the number of students, new students who are probably looking at taking admissions into American universities. That'll again get a huge impact, purely because if there is any iota of doubt about getting jobs in the US, I think the total number of students going to US will start reducing very clearly. But the 21st September deadline, I'm sure it was not out of the blue. I'm sure it was thought over because it was over a weekend. It just creates a lot of a lot of hassle for people. And maybe that was the intent, saying, whatever it is, you do it now. Otherwise, just stay put where you are.
All right, Mr. Prabhudayal, I want to come to you to understand on the point that you made, that could this push India to strengthen their own domestic tech ecosystems instead of depending on the US?
Yes, of course. India has to look at this matter in the longer term. Niti Sharma has very correctly pointed out the very adverse consequences in the near term. But we have to override these in the longer term, and we have to see the sort of opportunities which we can create within our country. The future lies in work in India. Study in India, work in India, and enrich India. Indian talent has been enriching other countries, and that is why it is termed a brain drain. Now that these sort of obstacles are coming up, like the recent $100,000 H1B visa fee,
right,
the government should create opportunities within the country, and that is going to be the only solution.
All right, please stay on, as I'd like to bring in Dr. Tejinder Pal Singh, who's just joined us on the broadcast. Very good evening to you, sir. And a bunch of clarification that we need as far as what the impact of this move will be. Now, firstly, will this affect fresh H1B applicants?
To start with, yes, definitely it will affect. But as Prabhu was saying, I see a lot of hope for Indian economy to revive the local talent and local industry.
Okay.
We must realize that I personally feel, although what I'm going to say goes against my business activity, but nation comes first. H1B visa restrictions, to me, the way Trump has tried to impose tariffs and these 100,000 fee by the promoter and the applicant, it simply shows how hollow is American economy. They want to extract money under every possible way, be it tariffs, be it H1B visa fee raise, or the company who has to dole down more money to get their people there. So I see a lot of hope for India. Yes, it will take maybe 1 or 2 years to realize the potential. And we must not forget the kind of services we offer at the quality service, especially in the field of IT. We cannot be substituted because the second most powerful country in terms of IT is Ireland. And I don't find, because Irish has a passport which allows under work holiday visa to work anywhere in US, so they don't require H1B visas.
Okay.
Between the age of 18 and 35, let me correct myself. Now, what I'm trying to put across is, in nutshell, yes, the initial impact will hamper more than 500,000 people across US. And if you go back to the history, the way our people were handcuffed and put on planes under the deportation was actually the signal of the things to come, which we should have realized that this is the beginning of reverse immigration,
Right.
forced reverse immigration. So I personally see that, yes, the first dent will affect a lot of people who are on H1B visas, who have bought their houses or who are paying mortgages, who have bought cars, they have put their kids into private schools, which are very expensive in US or Canada or Australia or New Zealand. But coming back to Trump's policy, definitely, one, it will hamper our H1 visa, 1B visa holders. Secondly, the economic impact will cause a lot of hardship for Indians. But personally, I feel with my experience, it is a 6-month game.
Okay.
They will also realize that without Indians, especially IT, they cannot survive. US cannot survive. They don't have enough local talent.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's a welcome view, but I want to go on to my next question to understand that for the H1B visa holders who want to travel outside of the US, now while companies are asking them to not leave, but what if they have to travel due to a certain emergency, and for those who can't return till the 21st of September, how does that scenario pan out?
See, it has happened, and if you closely monitor what is happening in Canada, a lot of people who had gone on even on the valid spouse visas were questioned. So, how to put it? Despite all the formalities were completed, they were literally grilled at the airport, and a lot of notices was served to them to get out of the country within 28 days, and they become vulnerable. So, there is a possibility that people who arrive in US after 21st or before 21st, in any case, they are going to be grilled at the airport. That's for sure. And they are now finding a way to deport you, eliminate you, get you back to your country of origin. This will also has surged recently with my American counterpart attorneys. Suddenly, there are a lot of people who are holding on green card for a pretty long time and were not opting for US citizenship. There is a sudden surge of people applying for US citizenship because permanent resident or a green card holder is always under the threat to be deported. So people should not take chance. For
All
sure,
right.
emergency, you will have to take a chance. If it is medical emergency, somebody fallen sick back home in India or anywhere else, this is going to be a tough situation for them, yes.
Tough indeed, but if they are currently in India, will they be allowed to enter America? You're saying it's going to be difficult. and they may have to go through a rigorous exchange, but they will be allowed to enter.
Case-to-case basis, if there are no criminal, there is not something adverse in their file. See, at the end of the day, if somebody is not in immigration clearance, till the time somebody is in immigration clearance, the law is neutral. You are citizen, you are resident of no man's land. So at that point of time, they can deport you. That's why most of the investigation is always done in the immigration clearance area, as per the international laws. So they can be asked to leave the country or take the next flight back home.
Okay, very uncertain
Now,
indeed.
the solution is the family laws and the family reunion are very strong in the Western world, especially in US. If one of the spouse stays back in US, they can hire a lawyer, attorney, and then they can get their spouse back in the country. Yes, that's the way to do it.
That is an interesting suggestion. Also, to get your point of view on how does America define national interest while exempting H1B holders from the new fee? Dr. Tejinder, my question is to you, sir.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. I lost your voice. That's why I was like.
No problem.
Could you repeat the question?
No, I'm wanting to get your point of view on how does America define national interest while exempting H1B holders?
No, they are not defining it. They are simply telling you that they will pick and choose. There is no law. To me, it's a blatant misuse of the law. For me, there is no law. There's no regulation they are following. It's a very, very autocratic way of doing immigration processes. How can you simply put so much? See, money part, it's their own requirement. They can do it, but they cannot. In retrospect, if somebody has arrived on H1B visa, as per the international norms of geopolitical immigration laws, it clearly defines the law will be applicable the day you are granted the visa you are in.
Got it. Got it.
It cannot be changed because you change the law today and you can't kick somebody out. That you can fight in the courts in US.
So I'm very short on time, which is why I want to take my last question to you. Will this be followed by more restrictions for H1B holders in the future, or is this a temporary shock?
No. It will be a continuous process, for sure.
Okay. Dr. Tejinder Pal Singh, I want to thank you for speaking to India Today this evening, and of course our other guests on the broadcast, Mr. Prabhu Dayal and Niti Sharma, for sharing your point of view. Like you're saying that US is certainly going to face the loss in the long run, and India to strengthen its moves when it comes to building a stronger tech ecosystem. Thank you for joining us and speaking to us this evening.